Okay. So the question says, the plane with equation, this is for 2017, they don't take up the class from homework last night. It says, the plane with equation that intersects the y-axis at A and the z-axis at B. Determine the equation of the line that contains these 2 points. Okay, so we're looking for, we did the question similar to this on Friday, except we just said intersects the z-axis, if you remember that one. Austin, do you recall we did with the question on Friday that said intersects the z-axis? What was the first step? Parametric equation, good. Can you do that for me, please? X equals. Thank you for letting me write this down. That's nice, okay. X equals?
X equals 1 plus S plus T.
I call it M plus N, but yeah. Now, hold on, let me just explain for those that have been here in 2 months. Yeah, okay, so all this is the x coordinates of this. So the x coordinate, this is a point. Okay, so x coordinate is a point. Noah, since you haven't been here in 2 days, remember what these things are called? What are they called? Cartesian vectors. I'm going to call them direction vectors, though, okay? Because they're pointing a direction for the plane here, okay? So the x coordinate of the direction vector, I'm going to times it by m because it's times m on the outside, and the same thing. This coordinates 1, so we're times that by m. Okay. All right, Haley, can you do y for me, please? Okay, so I'm going to assume that you said. I'm assuming that's what you said, even though I didn't hear you. That's good. All right. And Alistair, what's that equal to, please?
3 plus 5 plus 3.
Okay. We're all starting off good? All right. Now, we have to solve this, the same thing we did before on Friday, but we're doing it twice. Okay? So, James, if I want to find when the y-intersects at point A, what point is that going to be? So if the y-intercept is A, what point is that going to be? Okay. Okay, well think back on an opera. Let's not look that easy, James, today. Go back to grade 9. If I said find the y-intercept, what would x be then? 0. So in this case, it's going to be the same thing, except for instead of being 0, it's going to be then 0 comma A comma 0. All right, Brendan, even though you weren't here yesterday, I'm going to set this up for you to do some algebra. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the equation. Well, you know what I mean. Well, I wasn't actually. It was me being.
I was going to do the homework on Saturday, and I was like, April Fools. I'm not going to do it.
Okay, so let's just make sure we know what we did there. The x, the y, and the z coordinates got subbed in here for x, y, and z. So x, y, and z for my point, put in for the x, the y, and the z. For someone that was here yesterday, I'm going to pick on Brendan in a sec, okay? How do we actually solve for A? What are we going to do? For someone that was here on, anyone take it? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to use substitution, right? So what I'm going to do is, and for Noah here too, Noah and Noah, I'm going to pretend that line doesn't exist because there's a variable in it. I'm going to use substitution with the first and the third line, get the variables. Once I get those variables, sub it in here, and that's what A is going to equal. Okay, does that sort of make sense? A little bit? Okay, so I'm going to use the power of technology here. I'm not going to use the power, yeah, I'm going to use the power of technology here. Watch this. Is that too confusing if I do that? Was that too confusing? I hope it wasn't. Because now Brendan's going to do substitution or elimination for me. What do you want to solve these two equations, 2 unknowns? So you can isolate m or n. Which variable are you going to isolate? M. So what does m equal from here? So m equals minus 1 minus n. Okay. Everyone see how he did that? Just algebra, he got everything? No, he didn't. Okay, so all he did was, he wants to isolate m here, right? So this comes across for -1, and then n comes across for -n. That's all he did there. All right, yeah, yes.
How did you get the y numbers?
Oh, because it just said the y-intercept, this is just
Oh,
giving
is
it.
that the y?
It intersects the y-axis at A, so that's the y-intercept. That's what that is.
So then how do you know that's 0, a?
Because everything else has to be 0 for it. It's like, just like when you found the y-intercept in grade 9, the actual 0 is the same idea. All right, Tanner, since you did an awesome job helping so far, I'm going to come to you again. How do I solve for n now that I have m equals 1 minus n? It has to be the third one, because if you get the other one, it's going to either limit 0 equals 0. Oh. Okay. I was just going to sub it back into here. That's all I was going to do.
Okay.
Right, but because you were isolating n and then you get two things. I was just going to do it like this. Which is probably a little bit easier to go because there's no fractions or anything like that. So substitution coming back for some people here, a little bit. I know Derek likes elimination, that's fine, I'll use elimination on the next one. All right, Brad, multiplication time. What is 5 times negative 1 minus n, please?
Negative 5.
Yeah, minus 5n, yeah. Oops, I forgot a 3 there. Try again. B minus 5 minus 5n plus 3n. All right. Jason, even though you weren't here last week, I'm going to pick on you anyway to solve for n. Go ahead, please.
N is negative.
Whoa, you're faster than I am. That's great. Okay, great, wonderful, tremendous, awesome. I know this is going fast. I want to make sure we're sort of okay. No, you're following the algebra here, no problem. This is just this unit's all algebra. That's all this is. All right. Teresa, it's your turn anyway. So, question, go ahead first.
How did you just pick one of the?
Yes. You pick either the m or the n. It has to come from this. I'll ask anybody in the class. Why is it wrong? Not wrong. Why is it more difficult to choose m or n from the second equation? There'll be fractions and all sorts of mess, okay? If you see a variable that already says either m or n on its own, that's the equation you're going to isolate right there. Teresa, if I now that I know that n equals negative 1, how does that help me? Which one?
Oh, the last one.
Yeah, this one here I'm going to sub it into, okay? So I'm going to go way back up here. Well, that's going to turn into the other page here. Sort of my arrows all over the place.
But we don't have to. We can sub it into anything we want
Yes.
except for the one with A. That's
Which should be 0. Is that right? Someone confirm that for me? Yeah? Okay, so now, final step here. Austin, how do I get my A value finally? I have my m and my n. Yeah, so I'm going to say A equals, whoops, that's right, 2 plus 2 minus, so my m was 0, and my n was negative 1. So this equals 2 plus 0 plus 1, A equals 3. Okay, what's my point going to be? Go ahead, Chris, it's your turn anyway. So
0, 3, 0.
0, 3, 0. Now, just looking forward, okay, I'm going to need that point because eventually we're going to find the intersection of two lines. We're going to find a line that contains these 2 points. Okay, right? So we're going to use those 2 points for the end part of my question. So we're going to need, so we'll actually need the points. Are we feeling sort of good so I can speed it up for round 2? Brad, how you feeling? Brad, I like what you got 3 sheets of paper going at all times. That's great. Sorry to embarrass you in front of everyone here, but that's great. That's wonderful.
And you do the same thing for
The very same thing for Z. Identical. So I'm going to go through this a little bit faster, if I will. Okay? So, Michael, can you be brave, please, and do the same thing for Z? So we're going to say for I'm going to write here for Z equals B. My point is 0, 0, B. right? And it goes for that because X, Y, Z, right? All right, can you give me the three equations I need to solve? Go ahead.
It's the same as before.
Go ahead, give me what? Zero equals.
0 equals 1 plus m plus n.
Okay, good.
0 equals 2 plus 2m minus n.
Okay.
Or b equals 3 plus 5m plus 3n.
Okay. So it's the same thing with an extra line in here. Did you use substitution or elimination for this one?
I just do the first one times 2 and
Yeah.
minus.
Okay. So he did elimination, and since you did elimination, I will follow his lead. I'm going to do it a little differently than what he did, though, if that's okay. Because I see a positive end and I see a negative end right here. So you can just add them straight north-south. You know what I mean? So just add this and this, this and this, this and this. You end up with an equal 0. But that way worked as well too, so I'm just going to add them. So that was fast, so I want to make sure that's okay, Derek. That makes sense for what I just did there. So I just added north-south. If you chose to use substitution, you may. Okay, I love substitution, right? I will do substitution, but I was told by you to do elimination. If you're erasing your page, don't worry about it, okay? You'll still get the right answer, all right? Okay, you, since I skipped you mostly, what's m going to equal here, please? Yeah, go ahead, you.
M equals 2 minus 1 and 0.
Yeah, so I'll write it out here. M equals -1. And I'll just show it the next step just to make sure, but that looks good to me. All right, Nicole, how are you feeling about the world? Sort of good? Okay, I have my M. How do I get my N, please?
Sub it into one of the others.
Which one would you like to sub it into? A, B, or C? Yeah, this probably, it looks the smallest version. I'd probably do that one. So I'm going to say 0 equals 1 plus n. Look at that. 0 equals n. All right, I'm going to get out of the way here and make sure life is good. Now, will it always be, the last time we had it opposite, we had m equals 0 and n equals -1. This time they flipped. It's a coincidence. It's not like it's going to happen every time like that, okay? So don't say I can skip half the work by only doing it once. You cannot. This question may show up on a test or an assignment. Okay, so it's probably a good thing to make sure you know how to do this algebra I love. Lucas, even though it's not your name.
Lucas.
No, my goodness. Luke, I have m equals 1, n equals 0. How do I solve for b, please?
Sub back in.
Yeah, so back into the first one, right? Because we have b equals all that. So it's going to be b equals 3 plus 5 plus 3. We have n equals 0 and m equals -1. So we're going to say b equals e minus 5, b equals -2. All right. Eric, what is my z-intercept? What is the point for that, please? What, comma, what, comma, what?
0, 0, negative.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hit pause on the video, and everyone except for Noah Solinger is going to make the equation of a line. And he's going to ask Bailey for help while Bailey's making the equation of a line. So you guys are going to make the equation of a line. For a reminder for how to do that, I'm going to pick on Tori. Tori, can you remind us how to find the equation of a line? Okay, so to make the equation of a line, you need, Derek, what?
You need a point and the direction.
You need a point and a direction vector. Can someone please remind me how to find a direction vector? Oh my goodness. Sleeping, go ahead. Subtract the 2 points. So here's my first point, and my second point is right over here. Okay, whoops, where are we here? Not 0, 0, B, whoops.
Is that one?
0, 3, second. Cool, I got 3, 0, 0 for a second. Okay, so you use 0, 3, 0 and 0, 0, -2. Make a direction vector out of that. Once you have that, pick a point, there's your line. Okay? I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to keep going. No, is this a little scary, I know. not the square,
but you
yeah.
have to do it in a specific order. So it's like
It